Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Saltmarsh's Isle of Dread, Session 11, The Poseidon's Adventurers Reach Tangaroa. So, does anyone remember what happened last time? Besides, a big spoiler alert, I just told you what you did last time. Any other big things that happened you guys remember?
You want a recap from?
Sure, go ahead, Axel, if you remember. Yep. Quick recap.
So, after we settled up and then we reached land finally at the Isle of Dread, we figured out that we were, I would say, northwest of where we wanted to be. So we started traveling along the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Southbound.
That's right.
We came up to a harbor, and we encountered a giant octopus. Octopus or a squid? Octopus, right?
Squid.
Yeah. And after battling that, we hit land. Once we hit land, we were approached by an Indian woman surrounded by 4 warriors who introduced herself as not Tangaroa. That's
Jackal. I think.
Jackal.
Wasn't Jackal, or did I change the name? I don't remember. In the book, she's Jackal, but anyway, it's J apostrophe K-A-L. Let's keep it Jackal. Just even if it was a different name I mentioned, you didn't really get to know her too well yet. So yeah, no worries.
And that's the cliff notes of it.
That's great. You also did. You had a little encounter with some fog, which you got around okay. The group kept their wits about them, and you didn't have any serious negative repercussions when you're getting to Isle of Dread. You're right. You did have a little encounter with a squid. You also noticed a couple of islands over on the west coast that seemed to have some flying creatures coming from these islands, but you didn't explore. You don't really know what that is. I think you did solve. I think one of them you did realize. Kane, did you remember which one? The second one you meant? The Terrafolk. Yeah, you remember that they look like pterosaurs mixed between a dinosaur and a human and a humanoid. So that was that they're not the coolest. But yeah, you guys you managed to get to Tangaroa, and I think I mentioned what the village looked like, didn't I? So there was. I think I gave you the sort of the description, but let's review this for the rest of the gang, because it's kind of an important one, and let's just read what it says. Okay, so you get to these gates, or not these gates, sort of this clearing, an area that is at the edge of the forest, and in the not the distance, but just beyond this village, or in the village, actually, is a wall. It's a great wall, 50-foot high wall built with large stone blocks, and it is a couple of miles long. What you also see is every few hundred feet, not few hundred feet, every how many? I don't know. They're 28. They're 28 towers. That go over a course of 28 miles. Of 20 miles. So every few hundred feet, or maybe 1,000 feet, there's a major tower, and the tower is about 70 feet tall, which is big. And they're 70 feet tall, but they're also 100 feet on each side. They're very, very large, sturdy towers, and they seem to be very consistent, very even along this wall. You get into this village, you're greeted by this woman, Jackal, and she greets you in a heavily accented, very it doesn't sound like any dialect you've heard, but she's welcome to Tangaroa. And that's where we left it last time. So Jackal is an older woman. Seems to be quite wizened. She's obviously the not just an advisor. She looks like the leader here, and she an aging tribal woman whose feathers are weaved into her long graying hair. Her wrinkled, weathered skin hangs loosely, but her brilliant blue eyes are piercing. She fondles a golden medallion around her neck, shaped like a dolphin, set with a mother of pearl. On either side of her are on two on each side of her. There are two strong warrior men. They appear to be warrior men they've got their spears out. Two have spears out. One has a very crude bone sort of dagger or long short sword, and the other's got this. It looks like a sort of like a small spear. You've heard these called akatl before. It's sort of like a jabbing spear with a little. It's got a little handle. You can consider it like a rapier, but a really thick spear-like rapier. Okay. Anyway, they are adorned in flowers. They've got two of them have. It appears to be like bone armor, so like femurs and long bones, not only of humans, but they don't appear to be of human actually. They're some kind of animals. Really thick boned type armor on their chest and groin area, and then there are the other two have appear like wicker armor, so it's like really thick dried reeds, and they're more adorned all over with this kind of armor. They're obviously important members of this of Tangaroa, but Jikal says, "Us welcome to Tangaroa. You come." And she beckons you to come into the town. Are you gonna follow her?
Yeah, we'll follow her.
Of course you're gonna follow her. I'm gonna give you the map. I'm gonna put you all on the map of Tangaroa. They do not appear to be very what? Sorry. Okay, I'm not going to give you a map of Tangaroa because it is not appearing here. No problem. I'm going to explain. Well, I will show you a map of Tangaroa, and I will. Here, I'm going to actually literally just show you a map of Tangaroa on Discord. Okay, so up here, this is the. Can you guys see enough? Looking a little bit. Up here is the wall. Okay, the wall. You guys are down here, and you're coming into sort of the main area. There are about 12, 15 huts. They're very large huts, 50-foot long huts, all in a circle. In the middle of the circle, there appear to be something like, it looks like a graveyard. Looks like it looks like where they revere their dead. In the middle of these huts, the entire village sort of is in the circular format. There are 4 of these little sub villages or neighborhoods, districts, I guess you could say, and they're all connected by 2 paths, one that go to each, and then one that go into the middle. In the middle, there appears to be there's a flattened hill. There's a hill that goes up about 10, 20 feet, and then it's flat. It's sort of a plateau. On the top of the plateau, there's a small pyramid, which is only about 5-10 feet tall. It is a pyramid that's cut off. It looks like a place where people would go and where people would gather and listen to the village elders. It looks like a gathering place. So that's what this sort of middle section is. And it all throughout here, you notice that there are some farms. There are some livestock. There are goats, pigs. There's some separate fields of looked like maize, like corn, and some other grains. And there doesn't, besides this sort of pyramid and this sort of center gathering area, it doesn't appear to be like a town hall or any kind of. It's not a town or village that you're used to back on the mainland. Okay. You also notice over in the north, besides the wall, and there are the towers. There is a very, very large gate that's leading out of Tangaroa, and before that gate and these towers, there are what appears to be about a dozen or so tar pits. Aravan, you can take a guess that those are for defense. So these are like the wall would be primary defense. These tar pits would be the sort of secondary defense. Is what you can deduce from that. Okay, and that's the overall layout of Tangaroa.
Where are we being led?
So right now they're just saying come with us. You guys are down here before you get to the first little neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay. And so you get to the first neighborhood, and there's the first hut, and Jakal, she looks at all of you and she says, leader, chief. She's inquiring.
Point to her, say, you chief?
She goes, us chief. Who you chief?
I point to Axel.
Okay. Chief. Name. Chief name. She asks you. Axel. Chief Axel. She said, us happy. And then she starts saying something to you guys. Every one of you give me an insight check, please. Hard DC. DC 20, actually. Everyone give me an insight check.
Wow.
Whoa. There. Oh, okay. So Chief Axel and Kane, you guys both. She says something. You swear it was like kind of like common, but you can't understand what it is. You know that it's derived from common. And she says, and she's looking at you like she said something. No understand. Shaking your head. No. Okay. That okay. Us speak good common. And you notice the guards looking at her just sort of like they don't know what she's saying. Okay.
The guards that are with her.
The guards that are with her don't. When she's speaking to you in common, it's very broken common, and it doesn't look like these other tribes people understand it.
Okay.
She says, us speak common. She points at everyone else. She says, no common. And she says,
I'll say, you speak for people, and then I'll point around.
And she says, us chief. Us speak for people. And she's so how many of you guys are here? Who've come? The four of you and Oceanus. What have you done with the rest of the crew?
Well, should we have Oceanus guard the ship? Because she can guard from the water and, from below and above.
Well, I would think we would put her in charge of taking care of the ship with the, helping the members of the crew there keep an eye on the ship while we reconnoiter what's going on. I think that would have been our initial departing orders as we went.
Okay.
I mean, what's our objective here? Is our objective to trade with these people, to get our information from them?
Trade for food and water, hopefully grant us passage, and maybe act as a guide to the city.
That's good. I didn't even consider a guide. That's real good.
I don't know if they'd know that, like where it is, but they've got a better chance than us. This is the notes, which I need to reread.
So, okay.
So you've left Oceanus with the ship.
Yes.
And have you left the rest of the crew with the ship as well? You bring Gage?
Maybe we should bring our captain or leave the captain. Oh yeah, we gotta bring Gage for sure. We gotta bring Gage.
Okay. He's falling back. He's like, hello, okay, hello, sir. Yeah, whatever you like. Anything you want. I think I did him as Little Timmy from Christmas Carol. Yes, sir. Anything you like, sir.
Okay, so then I'm going to speak with Jakala. Say, we bring gifts in exchange for information and knowledge.
She says, gifts, knowledge. Okay. And she goes, okay. She does this. Okay. You many, and she says, you many mainlanders?
Few.
Few. Just you.
Just us.
Okay. You bring gifts. We have gifts. We welcome visitor to. We welcome visitor, or us welcome visitor to Teneroa. And then she says a couple things to two of the guards, and the two guards run off, and the other two are staying with her. And she says, "Come."
I'm gonna ask her something quick and say, I'm gonna point to the wall and I'll ask Wall's protection.
She says, "Come, we talk. We talk. Us tell about Wall. Us tell about Teneroa. Us tell about Isle of Dread. You come, we eat and drink. Okay?"
Okay.
Okay, so this is in the mid. I think this was at dusk, right? This is, you guys got there just nearing the end of the day. So she leads you over to the center of town, and there are villagers. They're going about their things. They're about their daily business. They're bringing in some of the grains from the fields. Some are walking around. Some are coming in. You also notice there's a path there's a path from where you've come, not very well established. But as you get to sort of the first village, there is a path that goes south. And on your map, you assume that's the one that goes to some of the other villages, possibly. But she welcomes you to the center, and you go up this mound, and there is this cut off pyramid. It is just it is rock. It's actually stone. It's carved, but it's been chopped off, and it's a well used part of the town. And she basically says. She begins to walk up to the top of the pyramid. Are you going to follow her? She doesn't indicate for you to follow her.
I'll ask her. Can I make a religion check to see if this is like a holy thing for them?
Yep, go ahead. Give me a religion check. DC 10. It's not that hard. Yep. You have no idea. No clue. I mean, I'll tell you, there's no Lathander and there's no shrine on this pyramid.
Yes, then I'll follow her up, I guess.
And she stops. She puts her hand back. Chief first. She says, "Chief first." And the other guys sort of go over and they're ready to grab you, like hold you back.
Okay, now I'll retreat to the base.
Okay, so yeah, you're just ready to step up, and she like looks back. No, and she goes up, and then one of the guards goes, and she gets to the top, turns around, she says, Chief first. She goes, and she looks at you like, okay, I've dealt with these kind of guys. You go, Chief first, and then she welcomes you up. So she welcomes you up onto the top of the pyramid. There's some villagers mulling about. There's a couple of the guards. The two guards that have gone away have now come back. They've brought some buckets. They've brought some plates of fruit. There's some interesting exotic fruit you see. And it's just sort of, it looks like welcome tea or something like that. And as you notice when you get to the top, there's seating around here. It's all kind of open, very plain seating areas made of like grass and pads. And she's sitting down. She welcomes you. Come sit down. I tell about Tanaroa. We tell about Tanaroa. Can't hear what you're saying if you're saying anything, Axel. Okay. She says, first, we talk. You gift, we story.
We have to unload everything we have from the ship.
We brought a sample with us of what we had.
Okay.
I specifically grabbed a certain number of things just so we had a sample.
Yep.
For this.
So what did you brought? The cinnamon, the what else? Ginger.
And some of the tools.
Okay. So yeah, that's right. So what are you going to do, Erevan? Are you going to give it to Axel to present to her? Or?
Yeah, I will
just motion to present the samples.
Okay. And you lay out some of the.
I lay them out, showing them what they are.
Her eyes light up. Ooh. And the two guards, they're like, they start talking to each other. And you hear a word that sounds like cinnamon and a word that sounds like ginger, but it seems to be very heavily accented. And she says, small. You more for village?
Yes. This is just a sample.
Sample mean little? You have small. Big?
Yes.
We happy. So you present that, and they're like they're smiling a little bit, and they bring the fruit out, and there's a tea. It's a really musky kind of brew. It's interesting that it's very hot. It's humid, hot, but there's warm tea, and she begins pouring it in everybody's glasses, including the two guards, and there are a couple more attendants that have now come around, and starts pouring drinks she pours it for everybody, and then gives it to everybody. Are you gonna take? And they gives you 4 or 5 as well. Are you gonna take some?
I'll take it, and I will toast her.
Toast.
Yeah.
Okay. And she looks at you. Toast. Okay. And you smell it. It's very, very musky, and there is it's a hint of cinnamon in it, actually, which is, you're like, okay, they love this stuff. Okay, so you're gonna toast her. What are you gonna say, Axel?
I'll hold out my cup, and if she does not know how to react, I will toast my fellow companions.
As you hold my cup out to Axel.
She kind of smiles, and she holds her cup out. It's like she's done this before, and then the other two are like, and they do the same thing. So the whole group does the same thing. Just so you're clear, there is Jacal. There's now 4. There are a total of 4 guards, and there are about 8 attendants or sort of other people around that are sort of milling about. Okay. So what do you want to say to her? What do you want to toast to her?
To new beginnings.
We have, and she says, we have old world. and we have new friend and new journey. And she toasts you as well. And she says, no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to, no, she says, "Kampai." Just kampai. and she drinks first. Are you all gonna have, you're all gonna, it smells really good, by the way. It does smell good. So you can have some?
Yeah.
It is a tea. It's a hearty, woody, musky tea. And it's surprisingly it's warm, but it's kind of cooling. It's like, it doesn't feel out of place in the heat and humidity. So she begins her story. She says, "Welcome to Tanaroa. Tanaroa is most important village on Isle of Dread. We have many people here." And she starts telling you a little bit about the village. And she says there are these 4 sort of neighborhoods, and they're made up of 4 different clans. There's the Tiger Clan, the Sea Turtle Clan, the Elk Clan, and the Hawk Clan. And those
I'm gonna ask her, friends?
All friends. These are all Tanaroans. They're all
So
from
the
Tanaro.
tiger, the sea turtle.
The tiger, sea turtle, elk, and hawk. And she says, "We believe that animal friendship, animal kin, are life. And we respect them by giving their names to us, taking their names and giving their names back to them." So she talks about these sort of 4 ways that they were organized. She gives you a little bit of the background. She says, "Wall here, many generations. Wall, who built the wall? We do not know." She says, "Many stories from many generations ago about people with big heads, smart people." And you can kind of see that the wall. You look at the village; they don't have a lot of, the technology level is very low, right? They do not. There doesn't appear to be any metal weapons. There's nothing here. Nobody could have built this wall. In fact, even those towers, the towers are old as well. The roofs are sort of being continually thatched and patched up with, it's not new material.
I'm gonna ask her, does she ever go on other side of wall?
She says, "We have road to other side of wall. But other side of wall is dangerous. Very dangerous. Big animals. Some not friendly animals. Very dangerous for people. But we go," and she indicates about 25, 30 miles in, but we stop at Big Pit.
Go why?
Good food, hunt. We hunt. We gather special ingredients, but not all the time. We don't go all the time. Sometimes we go to find our people who have run away or been captured. And she goes on to indicate that there are a total of 7 villages in the southeast part of the Isle of Dread. And you can see on your map there are 7 villages there. She says I can give you the names if you want, but there's 6 other villages, and they all are very similar to Tanaroa. But each of those villages have the same clans. They've got the Elk Clan, the Sea Turtle Clan, etc. And each of those clans, you realize that those 4 guards that are in with her, they're the chiefs of those villages. So, not the chiefs. They're the warrior heads of those clans. And the clans are there in times of conflict. They're there to supply soldiers at each of those towers. She tells you that each of those towers has a permanent presence. We're always making sure that nothing gets through, always making sure that we keep good watch over this area. And the clans are the ones that do it for us. And so every village has clan members. What would you like to tell? What would you like to tell her? Anything?
Should we ask her for a guide? What's our purpose?
First of all, she asks you, "Why are you here? You new friends? That we happy. But why come to Isle of Dread?"
We can't tell her we're just here for riches and stuff. What are our goals?
We're here to explore and find new things. I point over to Cage. I say, he's here to document, draw, and I tell him, show her some of your pictures, the creatures we see.
Oh, and her and some of the attendants, he shows his pictures, and they're whoa, and they're impressed. Wow, that's really cool. One of the other attendees, also maybe court reporter or something like that, she pulls out some cruder writing implements, but also some drawings of the, still photo of the farmland and everything. So Gage is like, oh wow, there's somebody else who appreciates my work. So she says, explore. Tangaroa, we don't explore. We just eat and live good life. Explore, okay. And then she says, okay. You've also, I like each one of you. No, Legolas and Erevan. You give me I want you to give me a perception roll, please. Nice. Okay.
Get those out of the way.
There appear. Okay, so one of the soldiers, or those 4 guards, one of them seems to be a little. So, Erevan, one of them seems to be distracted, or, happy to see you, but he's always thinking about. He's not like paying attention to the conversation. None of them can understand what she's saying to you. By the way, they're all just sort of like she's off at it or in her own weird words again. And he seems to be distracted. Looks like he's got something on his mind. Steve, you think this guy? Legolas, you think this guy's an asshole? He just really hates you. That's what you get out of it. You got this guy's giving you. He is giving you a wrong vibe.
Does he seem to be intentionally making mental notes about us in the sense that he may be plotting something, or is it just
no? So Erevan, he just seems to be distracted. It's not like he's looking around worrying about something else. He's absorbed in his own thoughts rather than paying attention a lot to what's going on. That's the vibe you get.
But he's not able to understand what we're saying.
No,
as far as our language.
No. It appears that Jakal and one of the attendants, the attendant that's got a little, that's sort of like Gage, a little bit of the drawing. That attendant, says a couple of words. Can't speak common, but says a couple of words to Gage. And Gage and her seem to be just sort of going back and forth, comparing notes right now.
Okay.
So you say, okay, exploring and visiting. Jakal says, I tell important Tangaroa information. She says, Isle of Dread, beautiful place. Tangaroa, strong people. Tangaroa, good food, good place, but we don't grow. She seems to indicate, or you guys kind of get the feeling that this society has devolved. There used to be more either activity or technology on this island, and it's not there anymore. You can just tell by the wall, okay? And she says to you, we lately are we have a village meeting, a village conclave every year. 7 village head chiefs get together for every year, and they talk about things important to them. And last time, which was about 6 months ago, they talked about wanting to open up more to the mainland. But, and you've noticed this so far, in the harbor here, there do not appear to be any ships. There are only these outrigger canoes. And they say, we do not sail far. We only stay in our, and she says a word, and you don't know what you think she's talking about neighborhood. So she says, in our, which is our stays in our neighborhood. But we want to visit, and we want to do more business or do more interactions with the mainland. She says that. So she says, thank you for gifts. Do you have more gifts?
Yes, we do.
We have, and she goes, snaps her fingers, and an attendant goes away, comes back, and brings back an old chest. And in the chest, she opens the chest, and there are gold pieces in the chest. And she says, you mainlanders like money, yes? Legolas, all of you guys, okay. She says,
We're all nodding.
Everyone nods. She goes, we talk to mainlanders sometimes. And she says, sometimes good. And she tells a story of an adventurer or explorer who was here over a year ago. He left suddenly, though. She indicates that his name was Rory Barbarossa. And she says, that good connection. And then she goes, and we have mainlander living here. Not in Tangaroa, but near Tangaroa. She says, Prattis. Prattis. Prattis is nature man. She says, Prattis is nature man from mainland. He here long time.
Nature man, like, and then I point to Kane.
Nature man, like, and she looks at him. Prattis, much smaller and older, and she goes, he here long time. So whatever that means, but she goes, like Kane. So she says, so we have good connection, Prattis and Rory, and she looks at you. She says, now maybe you. And then and then she looks over at the guy who's been not really paying attention. But sometimes we have a bad connection. In Isle of Dread, we have, how do you say, mainlanders with weapon and ship, and not nice. Weapon, ship, not nice. Sometimes they take us. They take us. We don't want to go, but they take us. That's bad interaction.
Where are these mainlanders at? Maybe we can do something about them.
So, and she says, okay, so actually, Erevan, give me a, not perception, give me a persuasion roll, please. And so, by the way, you guys did give them the cinnamon and ginger, right? Okay. So give me a,
Yes.
So give me a persuasion check with advantage.
With
Advantage. Yeah, you needed that.
all right. Let me do that again. Well, the first one I rolled was 22, so
That was perception, wasn't it?
Oh, that's his perception. Sorry, persuasion 12.
Okay, that's okay. She says, well, maybe you can help. And she says, Kuro. And she looks at the other guy. She goes, Kuro. And Kuro just puts his head up. Kuro's sister. She is chief at other village. Mora. And she basically says, Mora is another village of ours. Chief at Mora village. She is taken by bad mainlanders. Kuro is not happy. He misses sister. People say that bad mainlanders in the west here, but we can't find. Sometimes, one time we see, but their boat are very fast. We can't catch. And so as she's telling the story, you guys get the feeling that there are pirates that have captured some of these Tanara or these villagers, and one of the chiefs in one of the villages is missing now. And you convince them and say, hey, I can help. And so how do you want to help them? How can you help them, Erwin?
Well, if we can track them down and bring your people back, that would be good. And we can get rid of these bad people from your land, and if possible, give you the ship that they have, so that you can travel to the mainland.
So this is the thing. She indicates that it didn't appear that it was like a ship like yours that took them away, but there were like similar catamarans that were fast. But she says, she also indicates we did not see, but those kind of mainlanders must have come here by a ship. But they have not seen that ship. She's very positive about that. She says that would be great, and we would be very grateful. We can make supplies for you if you can help.
Are they targeting chiefs? Because we could use you as bait to lure them out.
She says, that's a good idea, but I don't think they've captured others as well. Does not appear to be. They have not. If they knew it was a chief, they haven't indicated any kind of like ransom or anything like that. There have been a few disappearances over the past few months. So it doesn't appear to just be targeted.
And are these people gathering, or are they taken during the night? How are they disappearing?
3 different scenarios. One with a group of fishermen, another were a group of foragers, and the latest one was a blatant ambush on one of the paths. So we want the chief back, but if there are other villagers alive, wherever they are, that would be great. We were going to send out a war party. We've been sending them out and they come back empty-handed. We were going to send another one out in 2 days. If you would like to show your worth that way, that would be very helpful. Okay? So she explains about this, there's this, she thinks it's in the west. It's definitely not anywhere on the southeast islands where the most of the villagers are. It's somewhere else. She explained Prattis, who is in this southeast area. He doesn't live in a village. He lives in isolated. They say he lives on an island. She has. If you need, I can get a guide for you. But it should be easy for you to find. And so Prattis is very. The wild man will have lots of information about Isle of Dread. Are you going to give them the trade items? Do you want to? I mean, the cinnamon and are you going to give those as gifts, or do you want to give the samples as gifts and then give the rest of the stuff as actual trade goods? See if they can trade you for it. She's basically offered you there's some gold here, right?
Yeah, I think that was kind of our basic understanding. Because it would, these are just to show you what we've got. We'll bring the rest in trade.
So okay, so what did you bring again? You guys brought 30 pounds of silver. Tell me exactly what it is, and and I want to know how much you paid for it. Do you remember?
Hang on, I'm looking to see.
It's under party loot. 20 pounds of ginger, 20 pounds of cinnamon, 100 pounds of tool barrel, and 3 barrels of tej.
Yes. That sounds about right.
Any idea how much you paid for them, you guys? It's kind of important, and
It was like 50 gold for the.
you bought them in Port Nyanzaru, so it's kind of expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we didn't go overboard on it. We didn't spend a ridiculous amount of money.
Right, that's right.
190 gold pieces written down in that area in my notes.
Yeah,
because it was
that sounds
right.
It was 2
that
gold.
sounds about right.
That sounds about right. So it was like so 20 pounds. So that's. But it was double the price. It was 40 and then 80, 120, and then 120 plus. What was it? Then it was the tools.
Yeah, 1 barrel.
And I can't remember how much the tej was. Tej was a certain amount too. You wrote down 190. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but then I have 250 written below it too. So maybe 250 for everything.
That could be. Yeah.
Well, remember we got potions too, and at the same time or earlier on. So I don't know if that was part of that calculation you were doing there.
Give me 1 second here, guys, and this is kind of important, so let's just. I remember you did buy tej. That's kind of important thing. You bought tej, so 3 barrels of tej.
If those were 20 gold pieces each, then 250 would be the total.
I think that's what they were. Yeah, I'm going to say it was the total was 250. So what she says is, so you bring the rest of the goods to her, and she takes out the coins, and there's another guy, one of her attendees. She comes out, she takes the money, and she puts on what appear to be glasses, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
And she begins sort of counting. She's just counting, and she goes, and she starts putting all these coins in one pile, and she gives you guys 500 gold pieces for these goods.
And without any kind of exaggeration, we very acceptable, and we, I push hand over everything there to them.
This tej they're like some of the guys, the warrior guys are like, okay, they keep going like okay. Really happy with the tej. There is One of the warrior guys, he's super happy with the tools. You have assuming this will come in very handy for repairs. And then some of the other attendees are like ginger, cinnamon. These are like the right things. You've hit the jackpot here. So you've basically doubled your money, literally the money. But you also see they don't have a lot of gold. They've handed out some, and they still have some left. But this is not something that is native to them, right? This gold is not native to them. They see it as a mechanism for trade. So, but they're very happy. I think you guys should be happy too. And every one of you add 200 experience points for that. So you're going to get some extra experience points for that.
I have a question for her. I go, where did you get these gold pieces? Did you make them? Did you find them? Did someone trade you for them?
She says, we have long history, but not we don't make gold. And she indicates gold. We sometimes trade gold, and we had much gold from long time ago. And she goes, but sometimes trade a little bit. Sometimes people bring or find. And she says, sometimes people try to come to Isle of Dread, but... And then she indicates the boat sinks. She goes, and she says, our villagers very good in water. But yeah, she's indicates. She goes, we want more if this can help our society and make us stronger, make Tangaroa stronger. She doesn't seem to be very keen on power per se, like a military power, but she wants. She's saying, I want a future for my clan, and protect my clan. And she is worried about the people are being taken. She does want to increase trade with the mainland. Trade items you got, and start trading. But they don't have. She doesn't have a seaworthy vessel, and except for the attendee with the glasses, she says we do boats good. Okay, we do sailboats, big boats. Don't know. They don't have the knowledge. So, okay. So that's so far what you've got from them. She says tonight we have a dinner. You come for dinner, and she says you have a house. So they've given you access to each of the neighborhoods has one large hut that is sort of like a guest hut, or when other villages come, they stay there. So they've got one in the elk clan hut is available for you guys, and say you stay elk hut tonight. And so you guys gonna participate in the feast tonight?
Yeah, I think the next morning, maybe we should discuss going to go try to find this Prattis guy.
Yep.
And then taking care of this pirate situation for them.
So you want to go? So you want to go talk to Prattis first, and then try to find the pirates? Is that right?
Well, they were going to send out a party. 2 days from now?
They were going to send out a war party or a search party 2 days from now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we go out looking for Prattis, we may not be involved with their war party. I think if we go looking for these guys with this war party, we'll have a better advantage, considering our knowledge, our skills, and our capabilities, on top of these guys' skills of tracking and being around, the native area. So we might want to go with them, and if we find this Prattis guy in the process, great, but do that as a secondary kind of thing. Because I think he'll be around. He's not going anywhere. They might take these people themselves, and that would be a problem.
Now, did they say the pirates were on the west side?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're down on the west side, and I'm getting a feeling of slavers at this point.
There was that cove area that the sea life did not want to go near.
Yeah,
Maybe that could be where they're involved. And there was also that island in the middle of this bay area. I feel like that might be where Prattis is. I need a guide to get us there, but if so, that would be on the way.
That night, you're having your group meeting, talking about what you want to be doing, and you're in the middle of a welcome. It's like a potlatch. It's like a big welcome dinner feast. There are and great. I mean, they've got cooked roast boar. They're great corn based. A lot of maize based sort of dishes. Very spicy, somewhat spicy, but very pungent and delicious dinner that they're serving. You learn that the war party, which will leave in 2 days, there's actually a group from the southern village here on this one peninsula. You are the southern village. That's where a few members of the war party are going to come. If you want to meet with them and then join them, that's an option as well. That might, if you wanted to get to Prattis, sorry, that might be closer to get you to Prattis if you want to try to kill two birds with one stone. So Mora, not Mora, what's the dude's name? Kuro. Kuro says that he'll be joining the war party as well, and that this is the village that his chief sister was taken from, and some of the members of that the clans there are going to be joining the war party. So he would be happy to join you if you wanted to go and meet with them tomorrow. And you guys know that based on not only on with your ship, your ship could get there easily half a day. You also know that the outrigger canoes, they can go pretty far as well. So they were just going to sail down or row down that way anyway. So you can keep that in mind. During the evening festivities, is there anything else that you'd like to do or try to talk to anybody in the village about? I'm gonna start with Legolas. Anything you want to ask Mr. Celestial Warlock?
No, nothing really comes to mind.
Okay. Kane, how about you?
Before I ask them that, I want to ask the rest of the group to see if we should bring this up at all. Sort of like aside from the rest of the festivities, should we bring up the city in the center of the island, or should we hold off till we've hopefully recovered the chief from Mora?
I think it'd be a good idea to get this chief back to garner a lot more trust with them, and that way they might be a lot more forthcoming with information such as that. They might even help us find it. If they don't know exactly where it is, they might actually help us find it.
Is the city where this pearl is supposed to be?
Yeah, the one from Barbarossa's notes.
We also didn't tell them that we found Barbarossa's notes.
That's true.
I don't think that's a problem though, because she said that their interaction between them and him were good.
Yeah, we're good.
So even if he said, "Hey, this is how we came here," I don't think that would be a problem. Mm-hmm. And if we do help them with these pirates, then I will gain a lot more esteem in their eyes and hopefully a lot more trust, which will help us find this city at a later date. I don't know that we're in a big hurry to leave, are we? I mean, to head back to the mainland. So let's see what we
got stuff to do here.
Exactly. So the more favor we can draw with these people, the better.
I agree. I guess I'd ask them more about Prattis, just like how long he's been there, because they seem to indicate he was there for a while.
Okay, so you get into a conversation about Prattis with one of the other villagers. You having a real hard time though with communicating. It's this very very basic like drawing and stuff. The only one who can really speak to you is Jacal, and this scribe and Gale. They seem to be trying to communicate, learning a couple words here and there. You mentioned Prattis, and you using hand signals and trying to communicate. And some of this, they're like drawing in the sand on the ground, and like Prattis, and they start acting. He's kind of a crazy guy, and they're indicating some guy with long hair and like Prattis, and you don't get any information except that he seems to be a crazy hermit that people see once in a while, but very rarely. He keeps to himself, so you don't really get an idea. You get the feeling that he's been here for decades, but you don't know where or why, or you don't get any further information from that. Axel, anything specific that you want to try to understand or do with these guys tonight?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Irvine?
I think I've covered most what I've been asked.
Okay. Each one of you roll a 1d10. Okay. No, so, okay. I'll throw this out there. So, Erevan, that night. So again, this night is celebration. It's very loose. Everybody's happy, and I don't know about your character. You tell me. Does your character enjoy does your character enjoy females or males?
Oh, very much females.
Okay, so you striking up conversation with some of the ladies in the younger ladies in the group, and you one of them, you take a notice to one of them, and she sort of seems to take a notice to you as well. You don't communicate very much, but there's obviously some. She looks at your tattoo, the serpent tattoo, right?
Yes.
And so everybody's been drinking some of the Tej, and they have their own some kind of alcohol. Legolas, you've been in the business a while. You strike up a conversation. They seem to indicate that they have a plant. It's not very. They don't see it very often, but there's some parts within the Isle of Dread that are they can get it. It's the Kua plant. It's called the Kua. I've written it down, and you guys can see. So it looks like this, the Kua plant. Okay? It's not very common right here, but when they get their hands on it, they found a way to turn it into a bit of some kind of ale. It's like a potato, it's a tuber. But anyway, so they make this drink. It's very it's ginny. It's like gin, okay? Which is I know gin is not like that, but if you've had gin, it tastes like gin, even though it's a tuber. So look, you can. It's giving you a bit of a buzz. Legolas, you're curious about this, and they say they brew it here, but they don't have the ingredients right in this peninsula. It usually comes from inside. But anyway, Erevan, you are having a good time. This girl is flirting. She's kind of it's just body language, and she's like touching she touches your tattoo and blah 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 blah, and she seems to think that's very cool and manly. And then some of the warriors are just there's like egging you on, or you go. So do you want to pursue that, or do you want to just leave it as it is? Her name is Kuna, by the way.
Absolutely, I'll pursue it.
Okay. So you and Kuna are having a good time. Axel, you see Aravan having a good time. Do you want to give me an insight check, please.
An insight check?
Insight check. Okay, Axel is getting very familiar with this society. And let's just say extramarital relations are all fine. They're totally fine. But usually there's a period that you get to know them. So it's a little frowned upon something so quickly, but they're not saying anything negative. But the etiquette would be get to know her and then talk to her next time.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look around.
So, Axel, you want to
I'm gonna
communicate?
watch my partner's back. I'm gonna look around to see if there are any other like males posturing when they see this going down.
Give me another insight check, please. Beat a 10. And I'm gonna roll something. Yep. So you beat a 10. You notice that there's one warrior not there. He's sort of standing back, and he's a little bit. He doesn't seem to be too happy. If you could guess, you would assume that he had his eye on Kuma, or whatever. Erwan is blissfully ignorant of that.
Aravan doesn't notice him?
Nope. And she's pouring this Kua drink down his throat, and he's pouring some of the Tej down her throat. And the girls around her just like egging her on, and the other guys are egging Aravan on.
They're having a good time.
Everyone's having a good time.
So I'm just gonna keep an eye on that guy and just let them have a good time.
Okay. Aravan, what do you want to do? So Axel, are you going to communicate to Aravan what you understand about their society? Like, it would be frowned upon if it's too soon, but they're not going to interfere if it's going to take some time. Doesn't mean you're married, but they can go ahead and do what they want. But usually it's, not a one night stand kind of thing, or not a one time.
I'll kind of like walk by, and then I get kind of close and in a low voice tell them, maybe you should take this one slow and kind of motion to the guy that has been shooting him looks, like nod in his direction to see if he can, pick up on the clue and then move off into, a different space and kind of still observe.
Do I see this guy?
Do you see him? Give me a perception check. Beat a 10, but you got it. Now you're at disadvantage because you've been imbibing a little bit.
Right, disadvantage.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't notice. Everyone that's in your general area seems to be encouraging everything.
All right. If anything, I kind of have my spider senses on, but I if I don't see him, I'm just like, okay.
So here's like why I will not be forceful, with the situation. I'll kind of let it proceed. Yep. If everyone around Aravan is, egging the situation on, and they know the culture, and there's only one guy that's kind of being sour. So that's why I will kind of stand by and keep an eye on that guy.
Take an inspiration there, Dave. Axel gets a day of or one extra round of inspiration. You can use it again tomorrow, next time as well. Just jot that down, okay? Just for general good insight and role play of how you would deal with that. That's great. Okay, so Aravan, are you just gonna let it see how it goes that night?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
If I don't get any like vibes where, well, I understand what he told me, but if I'm not getting any negative vibes and I haven't really seen this guy giving me the eye, then like I said, I'll just kind of keep my spider senses going, but I'll keep moving forward until something pops up. No
Okay.
pun intended.
No problem. So, no, something pops up. So something does pop up when she brings you aside and starts flirting, and she sort of indicates. She starts asking you to walk off. Axel, as that's going on with Erevan and Kura, you one of the attendants. It's not just an attendant. During the evening, there is there's another advisor that comes in. You haven't seen this advisor before. This advisor is a older man, and he hasn't. It only arrives at night, so he hasn't come out in the daytime, and he seems to be wearing very dark clothes. They're still light clothes, but dark. And as he joins the group, you see some of the other villagers sort of like keep away. They sort of keep. They don't want to get too close to him. And but he's sort of very silent, very dour, not saying much. He's listening, but then he says something to Jakal, and Jakal says, "This is Momoa. This is Momoa. Momoa is our witch doctor. Well, our let's just say Momoa cares about the Walking Dead, and Momoa has looked at your symbol of Lathander, and Momoa asks Jakal, and Jakal says he wants to know what is that? What is that symbol? What do you represent? What does it represent?
The new dawn, birth, life,
And
not death.
And as you're saying this, and Jakal's translating this, he just sort of like, he just sort of sighs. And you can see that some of the other villagers are just like really staying away, like, oh no, I don't want to talk to this idiot, kind of thing. Or not idiot. They're kind of scared. They're kind of scared.
They're reacting like that to Momoa.
To Momoa, not you. Momoa sits there, and after 10-15 minutes, Jakal says go away. She also then mentions that Momoa, every one of our villages has that we call the master or the mistress of the Walking Dead, and she says, Tandaroan's hearts are pure, but sometimes we need the help of the walking ancestors. Do you want to inquire about what the walking ancestors are?
Yes.
If I wasn't drunk as a skunk, I'd say that guy's a necromancer, but
He doesn't appear to be super powerful, but he does appear to influence some of the villagers. He's what you learn is he takes care of the dead, and to make sure that the dead have been properly buried, and there doesn't appear to be a shrine or any kind of deity worship here, but they say once in a while we need help. Not now, but he knows how to talk to the dead, and sometimes he can make the dead rise. We only use that in emergencies, but it's one of those and Jakal says we is how do you say necessary evil. But
Evil?
nobody likes him. Nobody likes him.
Evil never necessary.
Word.
What was that, Erevan?
He said the E word around a paladin.
They don't know. So they don't know.
Evil
Still don't know
never
what.
necessary.
Huh. And then she says, and then so that night, and then after a few minutes, he goes away, and Jakal says, "Well, tell me more." And Kane, anything else you wanted to get from them? Or are you done? You said you're done, right?
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, so the evening passes. Erwan, give me a roll and what am I gonna get you to roll? Roll an 8 or higher on a 12-sided dice. Roll a 12-sided dice. We don't roll enough of those.
Oh, say 12
8 or
seconds.
higher. Okay. So yeah, so you guys, so let's just say you consummate the marriage. No, it's not. You're not married yet. Sorry. She invites you back to her place with Kuna, and yeah, it's quite nice. So you have. I'm not gonna role play this, but you have a very nice evening with Kuna. She seems to be taken with you. You guys are not talking very much, but you both have a very deep, untroubled sleep. Legolas, you've got some interesting, not connection, but you're now interested in this kua, the fruit or this tuber that made this alcohol. Kane, you think you've narrowed down where Pradis is, and it's on the little. You think it's on the little island in the middle of the right here. I'm pointing to it. You're pretty sure that that's where he is. And Axel, you've realized you've got 2 more things that you have a really good conversation about Lathander with Jakal, and she's, let's not say she's intrigued, she's understanding, and she relays to you the fact that hundreds of years ago there may have been more of your kind of deities on the Isle of Dread. She goes, I have no idea where they would be, but she had also heard in the legends and the storytellings of a golden temple in the jungle to one of these mainlander gods. You also know that some of these tales, I mean, it's like telephone, right? Hundreds of years of storytelling, maybe the details are lost, but okay. All right. Yeah. So those are, and also every one of you just give me a perception check, please. It's a high DC. Roll a 20 or it's got to be a 20 or higher. Okay.
Pulse only counts on hand grenades and thermonuclear war.
I'm gonna give you guys what you had also heard. Another rumor is that there have been sightings, or they've heard that some of the mainlanders might have come over and set up a village or something on the east, somewhere on the east side of the Isle of Dread.
Well, I didn't hear that. Apparently, I'm not paying attention.
You heard that it was on the west side, Legolas. So anyway, you guys have heard that there's some exiles or some kind of poor mainlanders that have come over, and they're somewhere on the east coast of the island. Okay, so next day, you guys are, so you've now got a few important missions or directions here. There's nothing else you wanted to do? Is that right? You're gonna go. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go on this war hunt? Are you gonna go to Pratis? Are you gonna go just march into the Isle of Dread? Are you gonna what else are you gonna do?
I think
Well,
one was our.
I guess we're gonna wait 2 days for the hunting party and accompany them. Is that what we decided?
I think so.
John, you were breaking up really bad there to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were we gonna wait for the hunting party that leaves in 2 days and accompany them?
That's what I was understanding. We would sit there, gear up, and take the ship, and then use our crew as well as this hunting party to go wherever they're going. We could take them there quicker via our ship and see if we could do a little bit more damage to these guys if we come across them.
Okay. Okay, so if that's what you do, you wait for 2 days. So the pre-party, led by Kuro, I think, they decide to go out. They have to go down to this village first of no Moa. I'm getting them all mixed up. This village. They're setting out today because they need to go meet up with the rest of the war party. And he takes out one outrigger canoe with 5 other tribal warriors in it, some supplies, and he's going to head down here. He's welcome you to join him. Otherwise, he says we should meet somewhere else. But you should probably come down here if you want. We all want to stay together.
Yeah, let's give them a ride on Poseidon. Get there quick.
Yeah, we can take their boat with us, just so he doesn't have to leave.
How about we race him down?
Do you want to race him down?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. You, if you'd like, you can try to race him down. Okay, so you guys set off. You've got, so you've still got the same amount of supplies. You've got some extra cash now. You've got cash, but and they've said if you want us to if you want some water, we can give you water, no problem. If you want to refill up on food, do you indicate to them that you need more food now, or do you want to just go with what you've got? Got to keep track of You've got another 2 weeks of food, so I want you to sort of keep track of that, okay, guys?
Okay. I would say we should at least restock the basics, water and some basic food stocks, considering we have a crew and everything else. And if we've got a village here that's willing to help, why not?
Okay, so they're happy to refill your water stocks. For food stocks, you'd have to pay for it. They're happy to be new friends and trading partners, but they're not
they
they're
got
not
delicious
pushovers.
food. We'll pay.
Yeah, they've given you some really good food. So
What would they want for the food? I mean, trade-wise. It seems like the gold doesn't really do anything for them. That's why I'm asking.
no, but they know that the gold can get them stuff like it just. Oops.
Okay.
It can get them stuff like it just got them from you. So they're not just ready to give it away like no problem. They know the value of it. So you giving them gold back is good too. They say we could fill.
Yeah, we're starting the trading relationship.
So they say you need to go fill up if you want to fill up your fill up your stock. Do you want to fill up your stocks? You can move. You can fill up your stocks if you want for another 2 weeks, and that'll cost you. You're gonna make me do this? Sorry, 230. Hang on, 10. That'll be 200. It'll be 300 gold pieces.
Oh, 300?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding.
We'll do it. Let's do it.
Is that expensive for 2 weeks of supplies?
No, not at all.
That's pretty cheap, actually. Come on, food for your whole crew for 2 weeks. How much is a day of rations?
I just see it as we just gave them. We're giving them half the money we just
That you just
got
bought, but
from
you
them.
now have a month. Again, you've got now a month of food, a month of. So I'm gonna make a call. Your captain says this. So hey, Ervan, I know you're a marine and all, but we'll take the water and maybe we can get some of the meat, but. We can go if we stop off. We can go forage and fish and find a way. We can stock up on our own if we spend some time. Gathering.
I was. That's why my reaction was, "You've got to be kidding! There's no way."
Okay.
So yeah, I'm agreeing with the captain. That ain't gonna happen.
Okay. So so what you could do is they could say. We'll do this. So we'll give you 2 weeks of meat, of solid meat, but you'll still need to. It's not going to really for 30 gold pieces. It'll give you 2 more weeks of sort of proper protein, but that's not gonna allow you to survive very long. So for 30 gold pieces, you can top yourselves up for 2 weeks, but you need to go forage or spend a few days topping up the rest of your supplies somewhere. The only thing you will do for 3 days is foraging or trying to get food. Sound fair?
Okay.
Okay. So that's fine. So you guys are gonna race. You're gonna race these villagers. That's fine. They're in a it's a cutter, like a not a cutter, an outrigger canoe. There's 6 people in this outrigger canoe. It's very long. It's big. It's got the pontoons on it to give it some buoyancy, and it actually has a small sail. So a small sail to give it some extra power. As you guys are sailing out of the of Tangaroa Bay here, two things come to mind. And this comes from the captain. He says, "I can't believe you guys. When we sailed out of Port Nyanzaru, didn't your patron say that he was going to have something special for you? You guys didn't ask." So he goes, "So I've kept it for you." And the captain goes into his quarters. He comes out and he pulls out an item. And this item is a kind of special item. And I wrote it down somewhere, and of course it is not in front of me anymore, but you probably want to keep this down. It is, and I think I can write it up here. He says, "I've never seen this. I've never seen something like this before." Oh, Darren, sorry. Oh, come on. Here you go. If I put this here, show to players. It is a little 1-inch cube. Okay, let me just read it to you. And it looks like this. So you see a little guide that looks like this. It's basically you can use an action to place this 1-inch metal cube on the ground and speak its command word. The cube rapidly grows into a fortress that remains until you use an action to speak the command word that dismisses it, which works only if the fortress is empty. Fortress is a square tower, 20 feet on a side and 30 feet high, with arrow slits on all sides and a battlement atop it. Its interior is divided into 2 floors, with a ladder running along one wall to connect them. The ladder ends at a trapdoor leading to the roof. When activated, the tower has a small door on the side facing you. The door only opens on your command, which you can speak as a bonus action. It is immune to the knock spell or similar magic, such as that of a chime of opening. And then it'll do damage to a creature that's in the same area when you activate the fortress as well. So that was your captain. You're kind of pissed off at the captain for not letting you know about that, but at the same time, you guys also completely forgot about it. So you're both guilty of that one. But that's an interesting, wondrous item. Oh, the tower is made of adamantine, and its magic magic prevents it from being tipped over. The roof, door, and the walls each have 100 hit points, immunity to damage from non-magical weapons, excluding siege weapons, and resistance to all other damage. Only a wish spell can repair the fortress. Each casting of wish causes the roof, the door, and one wall to regain 50 hit points. So you get a little portable fort with you. So that's
It's our tent for camping.
It's a pretty cool tent, man. Yeah, you command word and
We'll call it Leoman's Tiny Fortress.
Leoman's Adamantine Fortress, yeah.
Just make sure when we're being attacked, they get within 20 feet of this thing, we drop it and go boom and squash them all.
It's like, look out below. It's the fortress hand grenade, right? Actually, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Hand grenade of diameter.
Okay, so you guys try to race this outrigger, and for the first hour, the outrigger is beating you. Why? It's not an extremely strong windy day, but they've popped their sail up, and these guys are rowing like maniacs. They are just kicking your ass. After an hour, you start matching them, and then after that now hour 3, they're kind of tiring out because they were just going full tilt.
Yeah, tough ride.
But you can also notice these guys they're buff as hell. They're like they could take you on in a rowing competition if it was a rowing competition. But so for the rest of how many hexes did I say you could move on a regular day? So you've got these are 6 miles.
I think it was 10.
I think 10 per half day. So for 24 hours you can go 20. But you guys, so you leave in the day and you get there in the evening. I'll just take you along here, and without incident, you guys get to the next village. When you get to the village, Kuro says, "We're not going to be able to go tomorrow. We're going to need to do this the day after." He tries to explain. You can't communicate with him very well. And the person that would have spoken proper common, the chief, his sister, is no longer at this village. She has another assistant that speaks very, very poor common, but you can get only a few after much time and attempts. You understand the other warriors have gone off hunting. They will be back tomorrow. There was a problem with communication, so it's not tomorrow. It's the day after tomorrow that you guys can go.
I asked them to take us to Prattis tomorrow.
They say we can't take you to Prattis. We'll tell you where he is. He's our neighbor. and they indicate he's based over here.
We're gonna write 5 words a day and establish a common language. Just joking.
No, we're not.
We have this
I'm
magic
just joking.
scroll. It's named Duo.
Steve wants to do it. Steve, you want to five words? No fucking way, buddy.
No way.
No way, Jose. Fuck off. Okay. No. Okay. All right. So,
Well, do the number you.
Steve, you're cutting out. I didn't hear what you're saying at all.
I said 5 words every week that we will never use.
Well, nice idea, not poor execution. Okay, so this day, you're brought into the village, very similar to Tanaroa. There is no wall. You now do have enough time if you want to go visit Prattis. The villagers, or Kudo says, are you all going to go visit Prattis? And he sort of challenges you guys, the 4 of you, and he has seen Oceanus as well. So Kudo's kind of interested in, like, wow, he's never seen one of those before. But he's saying, you guys go to Prattis, right? And he's pointing to his boat. He says, if you want to take his boat, he'll let you take it to visit Prattis.
Okay.
He's kind of challenging you. Like, you think you're so tough, big Highlanders or big mainlanders? Let's see if you can see how far you can get on this outrigger. So, do you want to take his outrigger to go visit Prattis?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
What are you gonna do with your ship, with Poseidon's Adventure?
No way. We take our ship over there. Why waste our energies trying to row across there? We can get there much quicker in the ship.
Because he's challenging us.
I know he's challenging us. I ain't taking the bait.
Were these guys like Polynesian rowers?
Yep.
Let's put it this way. I watched them row, and I know how well they did, and I just did all the math in my head going, no, thank you. I may be Marine, but I ain't stupid.
Okay, so are you guys gonna bring is you gonna bring the Poseidon over to Prattis' island as well?
I think we should. But I'm up for sport. Let's have him follow me up.
Oh.
Okay, so okay, that's fine. So you're gonna take Poseidon, and you're also gonna take Kudo's outrigger. Okay, who's in the outrigger?
I'm going to the outrigger.
I'll be in the outrigger.
Oceanus wants to go in the outrigger. It's a very super novelty for her. Rowing.
Let's test it.
Right.
I'm gonna stick to Poseidon.
Okay, so Hervan and Legolas and Poseidon. So there's 3 of you in the outrigger, and then there's Gage. Also, he's not very big. He's kind of scrawny, but I'll do it. I'll try it, you guys. And then you have 2 other crew members that also say, okay, why not? So okay, so you guys, the 6 of you in an outrigger. You get to. It only takes not even half a day. It's a few hours. About 4 hours. You get over to this island, and it's not a very big island. This is it's barely. It's a few miles across. And I'll tell you what you see.
Well, how did we do? Did we, impress him a little bit? Or?
He wasn't there. He didn't join you.
What?
He wasn't. He just wanted to see if you guys could row it. He was just offering it to you. So, It wasn't racing. He just wanted to see if you guys were going to handle it. He had to stay home, stay in the village, but he just wanted to see if you guys would take him up on the offer. He said he wasn't going to visit Paratus anyway.
Did we earn any stripes with him?
He was, let's just say he saw that you took the challenge. Erewhon and Legolas, he was sort of like, yeah, I mean, kind of neutral, nothing special. Kane and Axel, you guys were like, yeah, good. And he was very, again, super curious about Oceanus. Like just looking at her blue, lithe muscles, but when she started rowing, just like bulged a bit. He was like, oh, you don't know what he's saying, but if you had to guess, wow, that's a cool looking creature. Okay, so you guys get to this. It's a tiny volcanic island. There are a lot of there are sort of rugged boulders, obviously made from volcano, millions of years ago. There does not appear to be any clear bay or clear place to beach. You definitely got to bring. You would have to. There's a couple small strips of beach, but the out where you can go up, and then you're almost immediately into jungle. It's covered with lush jungle growth, and it's the largest part across is like 8 miles. You find some area, some sort of brush, some jungle, like a path that's been cleared past the jungle. And as you march along, I need to know what your marching order is. Who would be? You get to this sort of this area that looks like it would lead to where this hermit might be. Who's gonna go first?
Are we trying to move stealthily?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
If you want stealth, I can take the lead.
Okay. So
I
Erevan.
should not be. I should not be in the front if we're trying to move silently.
Okay. Oh, by the way, so who's got this fortress that I just gave you guys? Who's got it?
Axel should probably carry it.
Okay. So Axel's okay. So Erevan, you're first.
I mean, I'm a front liner. I'm tending to go down a lot. Maybe Legolas, my Legolas should carry it.
I can carry it.
Okay. So we got a marching order. We got Erevan first, then
I'll go second.
Kane, then
I'll take third.
okay, Axel and Legolas. You're moving carefully and cautiously. Try to moving silently through the path here.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Give
go
me
full stealth mode.
I want everybody to give me a stealth check, please, as you're moving carefully.
Mine's at disadvantage.
Okay.
$14.
Dave.
Hold on a second.
Okay. That's not bad for heavy armor.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, and now, Jeff, give me perception. What's your passive perception?
You got me.
It's 10 plus your perception bonus.
Bonus? It'd be 14.
14. Okay, give me a perception check, please. An active perception here. Okay.
11.
And Kane, you're behind Erevan. Give me a perception check. Okay, and now give me a dexterity check. Okay. So you see Erevan, you're going forward, and he basically just nicks this tripwire, and you see him nick it, and you're like, no! And you try to grab him to stop him, and he just goes forward, and in front of you, you hear what appear to be cans jingling. It appears to be some kind of noise alarm that's tripped. D&D, I guess you could have cans. Do we have cans? Yeah, we have. Sure, we'll say we have tin food. No. Anyway, there's some vessels of containers banging next to each other. Hell, coconuts. Bunch of empty coconuts together, and they've set off some kind of alarm. And you're like, okay, well, we might have been somewhat stealthy. I'm pretty sure people we're gonna know we're here. Now, what are you gonna do?
We announce ourselves.
Nah, keep moving.
Keep moving.
Yep.
He moved.
Okay. You go another 5 minutes. Are you keeping extra? I'm assuming you're being extra cautious now.
As best we can.
Okay. And you go down a little bit more. Jeff, give me a perception check again, please.
8.
And Kane, you also give me a perception check. Jeff, give me a dex saving throw, please. Beat a 15.
Dicks. Nope.
Okay. So even though you are trying to be more careful, you fall into there is a somewhat crudely made pit trap. It's just covered in fronds or ferns or whatever, and you're like, you should have seen that, and you should have seen it too, Kane. You didn't. You go, oh, everything's fine, and you see Erevan fall down. 1d. Oops. Failed your dex. Take 3 points of damage, falling damage, as you fall 10 feet into a 10 foot by 10 foot pit. Nothing. There's no spikes down here. There's some like dead rats and but there's not really. Interestingly, if it would have been dead. It's not a deadly trap. What do you guys want to do now? Now that he's fallen down.
Well, I will
Drop my
pull
rope.
out,
We can climb out.
I'll pull out some of my rope and toss it up to whoever's up top there.
Okay. As you take out your rope and you toss up the top, from down the path where you were heading towards, you hear in a booming voice. This thing sounds. It sounds big. What are you doing? In very northern Faerun or northern Sword Coast accented common. Kane, you know this dialect. It's from the ice areas. What are you doing? Go away. I don't want you here.
We've come looking for Predis.
The voice says, Predis? And then immediately changes to, oh, why didn't you say so? And then you see in front of you, there's a small, wiry, long, crazy, matted, gray-haired man with a staff. He looks out. He says, "You're looking for Pratis? That's me." He looks and he's like really happy. That's me. And he looks at you. And then he goes, "Why do you want to see here?" The booming voice. "Why do you want to see me?" And before you can answer, he goes, "Oh, but come along, come on. I'll show you Pratis' house." And come along. And he turns and he starts walking to where you guys were going. Axel, you want to do something? He said.
I'm going to cast Divine Sense.
Divine Sense. Okay, you cast Divine Sense, and it'll give you undead, fiends, any of that stuff.
Yeah, celestials.
You do not detect any of those creatures, and the ground within 60 feet or something does not appear to be unhallowed.
Okay.
Okay.
Seems safe to follow them, guys.
Is someone going to help me out?
Oh yeah, we're gonna pull them out. We're gonna pull Irvine out. Drop
Okay.
my rope, or grab
Well,
his rope that he threw out,
Toss it up to you.
and pull him out.
You get out, no problem. This is very it's barely a trap. It's a trap. It was a trap. So you guys, are you gonna follow this guy now?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you go down the path, just as you turn right towards the path, it opens up into a bit of a there's an opening, and you see there's a lagoon in the middle of this sort of in the middle of this area. It's a big sort of like a blue hole. It's like very round. And on the edge there are trees all over the place, but there is this one large trunk tree, and it appears to be a tree house. It looks like this. Oops, hang on. Those creatures there are not supposed to be there. That was my son putting them in there. I forgot that he'd put them in there. So it is a old sort of rundown tree house built on top of a very large tree. And it's sitting sort of on the edge of this big lagoon. And the lagoon is there, and there's a little stream opposite the lagoon. Looks like it drains out to maybe the other side of the island or something. So you get to this. He leads you around the lagoon into the treehouse. He goes, "Come on, Pradis will talk to you." And he starts cackling.
Oh, you're not Pradis?
I'm Pradis.
Okay.
I'm Pradis. No, stop. No. He's switching between a deep voice, a very long, very booming deep voice, and sort of a cackling man. So he says, "I'm Pradis. Who are you?" He says, come on up. And he beckons you. He starts walking up the stairs to his treehouse. Do you want to join him?
I'm Arcados. I'm also from Icewind Dale.
Icewind Dale. And he just sort of stops. And he looks up. Icewind Dale. And he keeps talking like this for like 30 seconds, a minute and a half, 2 minutes go by. And he's Icewind Dale. And he starts prattling off some names of places in Icewind Dale, and famous dwarf clans, and battles of old, and areas you will know very well, Kane. And he goes, "Oh, Icewind Land. Never been there." And he turns around and walks back up. Starts walking up to the treehouse. Come along. And he starts saying, "Oh, hope my trap didn't hurt you too much." He's looking at you, Erebor.
Oh no, not at all.
Okay. So just cognizant of time a little bit, and the fact that this is a key part. And I know there's been no combat today. Pradis explains. He welcomes you in into his house, into his humble abode. It is a one-room, very, very simple. It's a very, very simple room. It looks like it's been around for hundreds of years. It's not. You know that it's not hundreds of years old, but it is very, very simple. I can show you inside, I guess, but it's literally one room. There's a fireplace. Interestingly, even though it's really hot in this part of the world, there's a fireplace. He's got some books. There are a lot of dried animal carcasses and meats and sort of nature crafted articles all over the place. And anything? What do you want to say? I'm assuming Kane, you're the one that wants to start having a chat with him.
Yeah, just see what he knows about the Isle of Dread. Uh, Particularly any word about pirates, if he's seen any ships going by.
Pirates. Ah, doesn't matter how far away you get from the mainland. There's always pirates. Oh, those pirates. Oh, I remember all of those Bluebeard and Greybeard and Longbeard. All about the beards. And he starts grunting off about different pirate types. He starts explaining without real prompting. He's just talking. He's not asking you questions about why you're there. He's just telling you about him. And you get a few important pieces of information. Number one, he doesn't get many visitors. The locals think he's nuts, and there's not really a lot he can do for them. Once in a while, he'll go to the nearby village when he needs some kind of special herbs or spices that they don't have on his island here. He subsists mainly on vegetables, fruits, and fish. He says there's a lot of fish in this lagoon. You actually see coming from the treehouse, there are actually a large number of fish lines going right into the lagoon. Let's see. Yeah, he survives off the land and sea, and occasionally trades with the natives. As he starts telling his tale, he says that he liked to know a lot about the world and the goings on around of nature, and you get from his stories, you hear that he was here about 30 years ago. He came here like 30 years ago, and he's sort of been by himself since then. But he says he loves learning about new creatures. He loves learning about the flora and fauna. But he's getting older, and he says, "But enough about me. Why are you here? What do you need? What are you doing here? Why do you want to talk to Pratis?"
We thought you might know something. It seems that you're very well knowledged about places you haven't been
Oh,
before.
I know things. Oh, of course I know things. What do you want to know about? I told you a little
What
bit
do you know about
the
the Golden Temple?
the the Golden Temple. Was that? Oh, and he says, was that Jakal telling her stories again? There's no Golden Temple in the Isle of Dread. There was a temple. I'm sure there was a temple at one point. It's not a Golden Temple though. And he looks at you, and goes. He looks at you, and says, Lathander?
I am. I follow.
Oh, and his eyes start going back. He's thinking about things. But then he goes, not too many deities in over here in the Isle of Dread. But Lathander, he was a good one. He was always doing the right thing. He didn't cause war. He did cause problems, but he didn't cause war. I haven't ventured very much into the center of the Isle of Dread, but I will tell you that I've heard that Lathanders might have had a role. There might have been a temple here many, many, many decades ago or centuries ago. It's somewhere near the center, is all I know. Somewhere near the center is probably Lathander's ruins. It won't be a temple. It won't be made of gold. If anything, it would be ruins. Kane, in your interaction with him, he says, "You like nature. I can tell." He goes, "I can tell. Fratis is smart. I can tell." There was once, and he fades out. His eyes sort of gloss over. He says he's thinking about something that happened a long time ago, years and years and years ago. there was one like me as well. And I'd heard that he'd tried to set up a camp. There was a camp, or he discovered some kind of natural treasure. And he had found some hunting grounds, a place where he could be close to nature and reap its bounty. But again, that was years ago, and he was somewhere on the island. All I remember is he said something about the most fertile land on the Isle of Dread, and there was a river. Beyond that, I don't know.
Do you know his name?
I can't remember his name. He genuinely looks like he doesn't remember. But he thinks it was another druidish type who was more like more like a farmer, or he had a ranch. He talks about having a ranch where there was a river, fertile sort of farming ground, and nature's bounty, nature's treasure, whatever that was. Erwan, when you talk to him about pirates, he says, and he looks at you and goes, "Arr, there be pirates here." He goes, they don't bother me, but the natives, my native friends, it's been getting bad for them. He says, I think they're slavers. I thought these areas would be cleared of slavers, but I think there's some slavers around here. They're in the west. I've heard they're in the west, or at least that's what I think they are. And then lastly, and Legolas, and you see, you haven't noticed this before, but you see there's a barrel, and it's filled with a grain. And that grain, you sort of smell it as you walk by, sort of smell it, and you get this feeling that the grain is kua. It's actually that ground. It's what the villagers made the alcohol out of. But he seems to have made. He goes, sometimes I get this from the villages. This is the kua root. It is very, very nutritious and very good as a grain. But it needs to be ground. It's very, very tough, and it's very difficult to grind up. But once it's ground up, it makes excellent flour. And again, Legolas, is your interest has been piqued. You're like, you still haven't seen this growing anywhere yet, but
I'll point to it and say, "Do you have a mill for this?"
No. And then he goes, no. He says no. He puts his head up. He goes, this, and you can see there's a mortar and pestle, or whatever it's called, and it's been, it's worn out. This thing is just. There's not a lot of metal objects. If there are any around here, they're all worn out. He's got a mortar and pestle for grinding stuff, and it's, not a lot left. He doesn't seem to be too concerned. He says, "No." And like his history. He's like a living history, and he can't seem to recall, legend versus what he's seen personally. And he says, "But I think there was a." He goes, "In my visions, I've seen a windmill. I've seen a windmill here." And he goes, "Or was that on the mainland? Or was that?" I don't know. But this is, and he takes out his mortar and pestle. "I did this myself. It took a long time." Okay, so from your interaction with Pradis, you've got a few important pieces of information and two more that you're going to get. Number one, he knows about Lathander, and there's some kind of ruins or something in the center here. Kane, there is another druid that might know something more about. There was or is another druid that might have known something more about this, with a river and hunting grounds and natural wonders. Erevan, there be pirates here, and they are slavers. They're not good. Simple as that. Legolas, there is this Kua root. It seems to have... You haven't seen it, but it seems to have some kind of connection to the people in this area. The last piece...
I want to ask him
Yes.
to share his notes. Sorry, I want to ask him to share his notes with Gale.
He says, notes. And he goes into a closet, pulls out. And he goes, when I traveled to the Isle of Dread. Did I travel to the Isle of Dread? And he starts going, like, again, he's losing his mind. He says, okay, I'll share my notes. And he says, and he hands Gale the following documents. He gives him some schematics or some dinosaurs, drawings and characteristics of dinosaurs that have roamed the Isle of Dread, you believe. I'll send this to you guys afterwards, okay? He's actually got, like, he's taken some good notes. But they're all like dinosaurs. There's nothing else. So when he says, yeah, like, there but you don't see too many. The weird thing is you don't see too many artifacts or too many dinosaur articles. You do see Kane. One of his baubles. There is a fang, and two and two together, it looks like a dinosaur fang. But his whole cabin or his treehouse does not have a lot of. He's got dinosaur knowledge, but there's not a lot of dinosaur parts or dinosaur knickknacks. So that's an interesting piece for you. And then the last part. So, and he's done that, and then the last thing was. You go out there. You come back to Prattis next time. And he says, I have things. I like information. I like knowledge. And he goes, and he looks at each one of you in the eye, and he just sort of like, you can tell he's sort of sizing you up. Like, are you gonna betray him, or are you gonna? What are you gonna do? He says, and he pulls out a little sack, and he pulls out some gold. There's like a few gold pieces in the sack. He says, Prattis can help you. But I like to know things. You bring me something that I want to know. You bring me some information. Any information that I think is good. And I'll help you. I'll pay for it. And he says, he says, anything more, Erevan? Anything more? Kane? Anything more, Axel? Anything more, Legolas?
No.
Okay. And he says, he turns around, he goes, okay, you can go now. Go now. Go now. Go now. He sort of turns off. He's like, you're done with the audience with Prattis.
We'll leave.
And he says, go now. He starts pushing out. Go. Prattis is busy. I'm busy. Go. As you leave, every one of you give me a perception check. DC 20. It's a tough one. Whoa. Holy shit. Oh. Really? Wow. And Steve. Oh, okay. So as you're leaving, so he says two things. As you leave, he says, "Thanks for coming. Had a great time." He was friendly enough. He wasn't a great host. He didn't offer you any like sweets or anything or food or anything. But the last thing he said was, "If you need me, I can help." Is what he says. I can help. As you guys are leaving, you're walking past the lagoon. Both Legolas and Kane. You could swear that you saw some shiny, either gold or gems or something, coming from down in the lagoon, tucked away somewhere. No idea how much, no idea what it was, but you swear there was something of interest down there. But that's all you got from it. You'd have to go and look more carefully if you wanted to check anything out. Anything else you want to do as you're leaving Pradis's abode?
Maybe go up to the lagoon and look in, but I don't want to disturb anything.
You're there. I mean, the path goes right along the lagoon, so you're like right there. That's why you're able to sort of see this.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll
Okay,
take a
so
look again.
sorry, let's take a look. You said.
I'll take a closer look into the water, but not make it obvious that that's what I'm doing.
If you'd have to get in and look much more closely if you wanted to see anything. From where you are above, it's a tiny little glimmer, even with this great of perception.
In that case, I'll just turn to Kane and go, "Do you see that?"
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can. That's his secret to keep. We'll ask him next time.
Okay.
Sounds good.
As you guys leave, you take a mental note of the 2 traps towards here, so you don't go by them next time. You get on the outrigger and you row back to the village where Kura is. You have a good dinner, not a feast, but just a regular dinner that night. The next morning, there are 3 outrigger canoes with 6 village warriors each they're not happy, they're serious, they've got supplies, they've got their weapons, relatively primitive weapons, but they all seem to be really focused on trying to find their missing villagers. In fact, they've also prepped. They've got their 3 outrigger canoes, but then they're towing 2 more empty outrigger canoes as well. So they're feeling positive, and they explain to you they're gonna try to sail due west, and then they're gonna go northwest, and they want you to sort of follow. But that night you're still realizing you're having communication issues. Like you couldn't go and tell them do this at this time. Tactically trying to coordinate something between them is going to be tricky. You're going to have to figure out what that means if you encounter these pirates next time on Saltmarsh's Isle of Dread. That's it. Again, guys, sorry there wasn't a lot of fighting, but it's okay. You've got about 5 million things you can now do. Isle of Dread is set up for a lot of encounters, and I've got many of them already done. So, okay. Any questions or concerns? You're going to add. So I gave you 200 gold, 200 XP from your exploits of bringing some of these trade goods. I'm also going to give you guys for today and for last session 600 XP each. Go ahead and add those to your totals.
Nice.
For role playing and for following along, you're doing things. You're just not killing people. So it's extra 600 gold, 600 XP for the past 2 weeks. Okay, and with that, we will talk again and see every one of you hopefully next time. And by the way, thank you to Thick Pastel. We had a raiding party in Twitch today. I don't know if you know what that means. When they do a raid, it means there's a big group of followers. Everybody comes to watch and join the session. So we had a party of 15 join us today. I don't know how long they stayed, or if they clicked a button and then left. That might have been it too. But anyway, thank you. I mentioned that in chat too. Thank you, Thick Pastel. The first time chat from you guys. Appreciate the support and hope you had fun watching. We'll see you next time, 7:30 PST on Saltmarsh's Isle of Dread. Peace out.
Thanks.